Come on! What's up, everybody? Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for another edition of Let's Argue, where I go on to social media, I take your unpopular opinions, your hot takes, and your tough questions, and I answer the best ones right here. Making memes of the This Is America video isn't a bad thing. It validates the message. Imagine if the claim of America is superficial contained in the song was invalidated by nobody making memes of it. No idea why some people are mad over that. Honestly, I think most of the writers making a stink over, oh, you're making memes of the new Childish Gambino, are doing so because it just allows them to write a cheap article that they can just drive clicks off of by pretending to be offended by something that they're not really all that offended by. You cannot tell me that Donald Glover did not knowingly make that video, as smart and as fantastic as a piece of commentary as that video is. I love that video. I think it's a great video. I think it's a great song. I think it's a great statement. But you can't tell me that Donald Glover didn't create that video with the intention that with such vivid, catchy, and super impactful imagery that he didn't anticipate that people were going to be taking chunks out of the video or taking images out of the video and repurposing them either for memes or reaction images or whatever.
Also, with people sharing memes about that video, it also spreads interest and awareness of that Donald Glover video too, thereby spreading the message of it.
Because here's the thing, whether you complain about something being turned into a meme or not, if people are turning it into a meme on the internet, they're going to be turning it into a meme. You can't stop them from doing it. Like, to be the person just kind of standing there like, I'm making a moral stance about the kinds of jokes that people are making online. I'm totally fine with somebody having their own personal moral stance about a particular thing, sticking to that, leading by example, but being the person who's like sitting there and whining about other people having fun, who wants to be that person? Nobody really wants to be that person. The only reasons people become that person is either because their head is fucked or there's a paycheck. Yoko Ono was one of the most influential writers and performers of her generation. She brought feminist rock into the mainstream and was proto-punk as fuck! Yeah, I mean, Yoko Ono is about as proto-punk as Patti Smith. I mean, if you think Patti Smith is proto-punk, you have to respect Yoko as being proto-punk too. I don't have so much to add to this statement outside of just saying that if you really want to kind of out somebody as being an artistically shallow rube, somebody whose taste and appreciation of music and art really doesn't run that deep, then just ask them what they think of Yoko Ono. Her music sucks. You ever hear Yoko Ono sing? She's a bad singer. Oh, God. Morons. Sun is just an edgier, darker version of Earth. Ooh. Said the guy wearing an all-black ensemble in a forest green scarf. For sure, Sun is edgier than Earth, and were stylistically inspired by what Earth was doing on records like Earth 2, but Sun was also heavily inspired by death metal and black metal, and embarked on a lot of other sonic experiments that Earth never really did. Your argument would make sense if Sun sounded exactly like Earth, and really the only difference between the two is when you showed up to their live shows, one was just wearing robes and had fog machines while the other band didn't, but you'd have to be a total moron to think that there's really any comparison between a record like Bees Made Honey in the Lion's Skull and, I don't know, Monoliths and Dimensions. Making your reviews about one singular numerical rating puts albums that are otherwise incomparable, Damn and Little Pump, on the same scale, which is unfair to both artists. Boo-hoo-hoo. Oh, number. Look, if you guys want to think that just because I gave two albums or two projects a similar score that they're the same or that they're comparable or whatever you want to extrapolate from that, that's on you. I rate all the albums that I rate on an enjoyability scale. I'm enjoying this at about a 6. I'm enjoying this at about a 7. It's me attempting to try to quantify in abstract a feeling. Outside of two albums getting a 7, all that really tells you is that I'm enjoying both of those records about the same, as far as just how entertained I am by those records. I could be entertained by those two albums respectively for two completely different reasons. Saying basically that you enjoy two albums about the same is not unfair. It's not unfair to anybody, okay? I think there are greater injustices happening on the face of the planet today than saying that I enjoyed Kendrick's most mediocre album so far, because it is, at about the same rate as I did Lil Pump's self-titled mixtape. Elon Musk dating Grimes. Why do we care? Does a musician's romantic choices say much about their character, political beliefs, what kind of society they think we live in? The Grimes-Elon thing is kind of threefold. Fold number one, and I guess this is my fold, is that I just find it kind of funny to sort of see these two worlds colliding that I just never would have anticipated would ever have any kind of overlap. Fold number two is that the indie music press is essentially a smaller version of the same dog and pony show that you'll catch in the mainstream celebrity or mainstream music press. It's not really that different. I know we may try to, sit down and convince ourselves that we're actually deeper than those other guys, but we're actually not. We're still obsessed over the same bullshit. It's just with a different roster of artists. And then the third fold is that unfortunately Grimes has a lot of very young, impressionable, and obsessive male fans who for some reason are just literally in love with her and truly need to reevaluate their priorities in life just because you listen to this person's music or you think this person is attractive on some kind of level. That doesn't mean you actually love them. You should try to strike a healthy relationship with someone who actually knows you. She's an artist making art, and you either enjoy it or you don't. Your relationship with Grimes stops and ends there. Isaiah Rashad is the second best member of TDE behind Kendrick. That doesn't even make sense because he hasn't even made an album better than SZA's Control or Absol's Control System. So how does that even make sense? Lil Peep's death should have been a wakening up call for all of these mumble rappers who promote drug use in their songs and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I mean, it's sort of sad to see that Peep's passing hasn't created a sort of social sea change within a lot of these lyrics and within the rap community in general. But I think that's also because the party culture that influences it, that a lot of these rappers base their whole narrative off of, hasn't really changed, Because at the end of the day, your average person, even if there are people out there who overdose, whether they're famous or not, people are still going to be seeking out that high. People are still going to be seeking out that way to alter their mind and get away from their troubles if they are suffering and if they are having problems. And that's the thing with Lil Peep's situation. It wasn't just merely this desire to tweak your brain. Clearly there were personal and emotional issues going on there that were underlying a lot of that, which is also the case with a lot of people who are drawn to this culture. So until you have those root emotional and personal issues fueling a lot of that behavior evaporating, even if you do have individuals who pass away because of this lifestyle, sadly, I don't think you're going to see much change. I kind of miss how in older videos you seemed somewhat genuinely perturbed by life itself. I'm also happy you seem to be doing better, so it's a toss-up. I won't lie, I mean, I do right now feel like I'm doing better now that I'm not having weekly anxiety attacks or panic attacks about what the fuck am I doing with my life? Why am I uploading video content to YouTube? This is all bullshit. This makes no sense. What the hell is the point of all of this? So no, I'm not as perturbed as I used to be However, I feel like the world at large has gotten shittier since then. So trust me, I'm still plenty perturbed. You are way too soft on mainstream trap records. I mean, maybe I'm not just like beating the living shit out of these albums because they're not as deep as like, let's say, Pink Floyd's The Wall or To Pimp a Butterfly or whatever else. Buh. I think there are a lot of great artistic ideas coming out of the genre, but the thing is, at the end of the day, what a lot of these artists are trying to do is just make mainstream music that appeals to the widest number of people. They're trying to make something that captures a vibe, captures a feeling, gets people excited, makes people feel euphoric. It's not that the genre of music is bad, it's just that its popularity level has tainted its motivations into chasing appeal more than artistry. And how many genres and musical movements could we say throughout the course of popular music have been guilty of that very thing? Country music, synth pop, the whole bling era, nu metal, post-grunge, hair metal, how many reiterations and fusions of pop music and electronic music we've seen over the decades. So I don't know, unless a record truly is so aesthetically crap that it's basically unlistenable, I don't really know what you want me to say about a lot of this stuff. I mean, like most albums that appeal to a super wide amount of people, while sure, there are a lot of trap records out there that aren't particularly deep, they certainly are listenable. It's fun to put on. Sure, I could sit here and kick and scream and dig in my heels and be like, oh no, I hate this. Oh, I don't want to hear this anymore. I'm tired of this. Everybody should be making music that's deep. But honestly, that's not going to change anything or make this go away any faster. Best to just kind of let this thing run its course and pick out of it what's actually worth picking out of it, highlight what's actually pretty decent. Because 10 years down the road, we're just going to be in the middle of a saturation point of some other bullshit trend or genre. So what trend or genre it is doesn't even really matter. But the funniest part is that we're going to be sitting there being like, man, back in 2018, that's when we had real music. We had real music back then. And I'm going to leave it at that. That has been it for this edition of Let's Argue. Love you, love you, love you. Anthony Fantano. Mwah, 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 mwah. Forever.